All right, hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let's just fire up the channel here, the stream, and let's see what we got going on. I've got about 15 seconds or so before I can boot up the comments section, but I'll be there soon. Right now, just starting to get set up here. I have some miniatures that I want to get painted tonight. These are from Mythic Battle Pantheon. Okay, so it looks like we are ready to rock. Let's go ahead and go to live control room. And let's call this painting Mythic Battle Pantheon minis. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that alone. And then we're going to go and open up our comments section. Okay. So stream health. Hope we're doing okay. I don't know if we are, but let's go ahead and get to the painting and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I have 4 miniatures. I'm really gonna concentrate on the 3 smaller ones. So I got here, this is Odysseus. So I've got Odysseus here. I've got Hippolyta. I'm gonna be spending some time on her. And then I've got Agamemnon. He's a little bit of an angry looking dude. So we'll get going on all of these miniatures. And I also have this Athena, who I probably won't be doing much work on tonight, but we may get to her. We'll see. Let's just get to painting and do what we do. Okay, so if you are just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Tonight we're streaming on, let's see, anybody else on? If I go to Dicey's thing, I don't know who's, yeah, they're all asleep. Everyone's asleep on that side of the world. That's fine. How dare they? Okay. Anyway, so I'm just going to paint for a little bit. Could be a very quiet stream, which is okay. Tomorrow night, I'm supposed to be streaming with Yvonne, so we might have some more stuff to watch tomorrow night. But first, let's go ahead and paint tonight. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to focus in on the smaller 3 minis here. And yeah, we'll just get to it. Working on some Gilliman flesh here because there's a couple spots here that need to be done on Hippolyta, namely this sort of middle section here. Right? She has like her armor has like a middle boob section here that I need to account for. That I didn't think was a middle boob section, but yes. Like it's a weird, just like that whole piece is cut out. Yeah. Okay. And is there anybody else missing? I don't think so. All right. Let's get to the brass stuff, right? These are Greek and Greco-Roman miniatures, so there's going to be a lot of brass, and so brass we typically start most of those the yellow metals we start with in yellow. Let me see if I can actually find the better, like the fuller pot. I'm finding with these contrast paints that by the time you get to the bottom of these pots, because they settle so bad, that you're very likely to get a different tone by the time you get to the bottom of your pot if you've been doing a lot of different things. So yeah, let's get to it here. Starting with Odysseus. So we'll just get all this painted in. Get the detail on the helmet. Oop. No mistake there. So he kind of has like blue robes and that kind of thing. Man, I am awful far away. Let's see if I can get us in a little bit tighter here. Hang on one second, folks. Might see a little bit of lag while I zoom us in, just so we can get a little bit closer to the detail here on the miniatures that we're painting tonight. Okay. How's that? And let's make sure we're still in focus. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool, cool. I don't know what that is, but we're getting rid of that. All right. And let's just continue on. So lots of little gold bits of armor here for Odysseus. Pretty damn cool miniature. He's got gold. Well, I guess it's not gold. It's, well, yeah, it is gold. Like a gold bordering on his cloak. We want to be respectful of that. Right? All that's gold. Gold there. Gold bordering all along the back here. And then that shield too will also be gold. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and base coat all that. I had the camera off for most of this week while I was just working on miscellaneous stuff. And knowing that I'm actually going to be streaming tomorrow, but figured tonight let's capture some of this process, because I've been painting through some of these other Mythic Battle Pantheon miniatures and hadn't captured any of it. Hadn't captured or photographed any of this stuff yet. So I've been lagging on my social media sharing, even though my painting activity has remained constant throughout this time. Oh, that's actually, like, there is kind of a gold thing there. Okay. Right, and then you have, let's just do this gold. There. Looks pretty good. Okay. And then here the greaves also need to be that color. So yeah, I'm thinking the cloak will be blue. And the greaves and all this stuff will be like a bronze color. And then the sandals will be a leather brown color. And let's do a little bit of a gold handlebars here on the bow. Yeah, we're going to treat this kind of like a batch paint, because I'm going to jump around between the miniatures, especially with a color as common as this out, where I'm going to jump around, right? So Hippolyta, like, most of her armor is going to be this bronze color. She has this great sun shield there. It's a fantastic looking shield. This is a fun miniature. It's a very fun miniature to paint. Oops. Except for when I get a little water on the leg, and I don't want water on the leg. Clean all that up. There we go. Right, I'm just trying to get yellow back in that corner there. Right. Okay. And then the helmet. Yeah, these are just they're just fun miniatures. Okay. So chances are we'll finish maybe a couple of these tonight. Ooh, still need to get more skin. Like missing large areas here. I'm gonna get the skin done. Most of this armor, kind of bringing this. It's kind of a gold coppery look. Cool nonetheless. There's like a whole half of the face there I did not get. But it looks like Hippolyta's color scheme is very simple. And I'm glad for that because, you know, I want to be able to finish more of these projects, get more of this stuff on the tabletop. Okay. Oops. And I'm wondering if that's like a stocking or if this is just a gold. Is that just like a thigh band? And this part should be flush too? I can't tell. I won't make it flush though. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm gonna. Well, I guess I could. Instead of introducing a third color that probably isn't true, right? She's probably not wearing a third color. She could be. I guess it would give the model some interest if I had a little thigh stocking there, but that doesn't seem correct for the time. I don't think they did stuff like that. I think I'm just looking at a single metal band that for some reason I thought became a stocking. So let's do this. Let's get those two bands up there, and let's give her a little more skin. Right. Right. Am I missing anything with the gold? I guess. Oh yeah, this whole part here. She is just covered in this like gold bronze armor. So yeah, blocking the model is basically just doing the gold and the skin. She's either gold or she's skin. Let's get the rest of the skin down on her. I'm gonna get a little more. Yeah. Yeah, she's totally all about the skin and armor. And crazy mold lines. Which I hate. But they can be very, very tedious to get rid of all of them. Let's jump back to gold and let's start on Agamemnon, who is rocking a lot of gold. So everything from his crown to his armor is going to be this gold. Oops. That's just hair under there. Totally did that wrong. It is literally just hair under there. And we get that light enough to fix with another contrast paint. Hey, what's up, Kevin? Welcome to the feed. Just painting some Mythic Battles Pantheon. Which is good stuff. Are you painting anything? Oops, I missed a thumb. I missed a thumb. Ah. Shit. Shouldn't have done that. There we go. Okay, now I can fix that thumb. Before I move on, let's fix it. Before I forget. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Wait, is Gilliman or yeah, that's Gilliman. Gilliman flesh here. Boop. There we go. Well, not quite. There we go. Okay. Okay. So this guy has like a lot of like, I guess it's like barded leather. So it's going to be a lot of browns on this guy. So you're painting pelage. Oh, cool. So I guess at some point that might mean you're breaking rats out at some point, right? Should be fun. What other parts should be gold? I guess this trim down here. Whoa. Right. And then there's just going to be so much brown on this model. It's going to be hard to make too much out on this. Let's leave that like that for now. And I guess since we're here, let's go ahead and let's paint some of the gold bits for Athena. Since we're here, like I was saying earlier, I don't think I'm going to do too much work on Athena. She's such a big model, she's such a cool model that maybe she deserves, maybe I won't finish her until tomorrow night on stream. And she's not that complicated to design. Right. All right, but let's just see how far we go. I was thinking I might put this team up for your day of raffle. Oh, cool. That would be cool. A raffle for a Ratcatchers team. That would be quite cool. Yeah, and it's fun when you've like painted the set yourself, because it I don't know, it just makes it more interesting than because you've invested some time in it, right? You've invested something into that prize, and so when you see people actively like, oh man, I really want to get that, then it makes giving it away more rewarding, I think. You know, I'm giving away a giant board game, but it's not. I didn't invest any time in it, so I don't think. Like last year, I gave away that Falconers Guild, and I was like, oh man, that was so fun to just put together and paint. Hope it goes to somebody that really wants it. That's all I was really hoping for, right? And it went out to a good cause. I don't even remember who won it. I don't remember who won the Falconers. I think Nathan won it. Yeah, or Nathan ended up with it. I don't know if he necessarily won it, but I know he's the guy that ended up with it. Man, these color schemes are just so easy. Yeah, by the way, how did your game go against Cody's Cooks? Hopefully that was cool. I love this Medusa, Medusa shield. It looks exactly like the one from Clash of the Titans. But yeah, it's super fun. Like there's still a bunch of like detail stuff I need to do for Extra Life, but this year's campaign went super well, and I think a lot of that, well, no, I know a lot of that was due to pre-sale. People jumped on the pre-sale stuff, and especially guys like Andrew, that's like, I'm gonna give away a lot of money to this charity anyway. Might as well get that order team I had my eye on. So that I'm glad that worked out for him. Uh, It was awesome. I lost 6 influence stack Divana turn 1, but she came back and wrecked face. Jeez. Yeah, apparently Cooks are a super bad matchup for Alchemists. A lot of Alchemist players are complaining that they can't beat Cooks. And I have yet to play against them, so I'm interested in seeing how that's going to go down. Dude, this model is like 3 colors. Devon caught past to Frelsey. Frelsey dodged 4 inches to engage Wellington, then got a 14 dice death from above on a snared Wellington. Hit every dice, doing exactly 13 damage in one shot to kill. Holy crap! Wow. Wow. You hit everything on 3-1. That will never happen to me in my entire life. Okay. couple touch-up areas here. There's always touch-up areas with contrast paints. Always, always. It's because they're glazes. They're gonna, when they're drying, they're gonna pull away to something. All right. So now here's the tricky part, is doing the hair. I think the best way to do this is to use a wash, because her hair is this weird, on the artwork her hair is like a gray color, and I actually kind of hate it, if you want the truth. But Nelson asked me to stay somewhat close to the card art, and I think the reason why he's asking me to do that is because so he can remember what stuff is. I think Falconers have a super good matchup against Cooks, but Cooks are dope now. Okay. Cool. Oh, look at that. There's still lots of touch-up going on here. What do you think about how does Midas match up into Cooks? You think that's a who do you favor, I guess, in that matchup? Do you favor Alchemists or do you favor the Cooks? Contrast paints are cheating. That's all you got to know. It's cheating. It's such a quick way to get stuff done, or to at least give you, even if you're not just like only paint, even if you're not just painting one layer of contrast paints and leaving it, it's still a super fast way to get stuff done, right? Because I still come back and I layer and I highlight and all that stuff, but it's just such a nice head start. Now in the case of the hair, though, I'm probably just gonna leave this when I as I paint it, and I knocked something off my desk. That happens, right? Because the card art had the hair is this weird, almost kind of a lavender gray color. So I'm gonna use this Griff Charger gray. I'm gonna use Griff Charger gray to base coat it, and then I'll make like a lavender color. Actually, that's not bad. Make a lavender color to give it a little bit of like a pinkish tone. Oh no, I actually have a better color for that. It's not bad. All right. The other thing I'm going to do, let's do a little silicon grade on that blade. But this piece here will get finished very quickly. Just because it's a really simple design, there's not much to it. It's just like a gold G string. Problem with that matchup is Cook's threat range is nuts. Main way to counter Cooks is their early single activation take out a model on their team, and I think you can't do that without VCAT. He gets out threat with Cinnamon and Rebuke and stuff. Oh, I see. Well, sounds like it's a tough matchup. All right. So now I'm gonna come back and we're gonna hit the gold bits with Snakebite Leather, and really kind of burnish it down to like a brass color. Yeah, this gives it a really nice, like that brass color that we want. And you can control how thick you want this to be. That will help determine how the brass color is going to be, is how thick you lay this on, and then also how you decide to highlight it. Oops. So you got a little snakebite leather where I do not want snakebite leather. So you got to be careful. There's a lot of fine detail on these models that you don't want to paint. You don't want to paint contrast the way they tell you to paint contrast, which is one thick coat. No, I'm treating all of it like a glaze and kind of creeping up on the colors that I want. Hmm. But yeah, I'm excited to play that matchup. I really need like a champ match report on my channel, but I can't get myself to play her. Like I recognize she's good, but one, I really don't. I would really want to play Honor instead of Corbelli, where I think she's much stronger in Corbelli. And two, I don't know. I think I'm set in my ways. I like playing Alchemist. Like I'm not even really interested in playing a Nomad game right now. And I like Engis. Yeah, I'm getting some pretty good. Getting pretty good bronze look here. Ooh, did it again. Keep doing that. I guess I could just come back and re-highlight it with a skin highlight, but I don't really care. It that weird little strip of exposed flesh is barely noticeable at all. And with how warm this armor is, you're not really gonna miss that. The Mason roster is too deep. Yeah, you could have 4 different teams out of Masons. But then I thought about Mason's waifu, which is not a great lineup. But it would be fun anyway to play something like that. Play the Burbs. Would you take the Burbs to the team championship? Is that who you would want to play? This is giving it a really nice, like, rich tone. Yeah, all this model really needs is highlights. it is done. Just a highlight on the steel, a little edge highlighting on this armor. And there's just not much to her design. I like that. They're real simple designs. Okay. Let's go Odysseus here. The 8 more months of practice, or at least a couple. If I had to go right now, I'd be farmers or order. Well, based on, you know, me and Andrew's guilds being locked, what would you play between farmers or order? Or is it not based on that? Hmm. I don't know. Okay. Might as well get all this done right now. I think the sandals are just this color. Personally, I think you could play either. I think you could play either order or farmers with what Andrew and I would be playing. I personally think you would want to be playing farmers though, just because I feel like they go into their strong matches really strong. And order is pretty similar across most of the matches, and then order has farmers, right? I think Falconers are super flying under the radar right now, especially in team tournament. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Right, but if we had to go today, I agree that you're probably going to be playing farmers. Okay. So there's that color on this dude. You should have some pretty cool colors when this is all said and done. Mostly blue And maybe a little bit of bone on this guy. But it's important to get all this brass down. Especially this guy's fur coat is gonna be. You play Falconers? Yes. I like to see people, you know, turning a few heads by wrecking people with Falconers at something like that. And I think if that's the case, if you're playing Falconers, um, then I think you can play. I think that's an advantage because a lot of the other teams won't be expecting a Falconers player in a mix like that. So if you're going in with Falconers, what are your favorite matchups? Like what are you preferring to put yourself into if you win the bet, if you win the coin toss, right? And then what are the matchups you don't want to get into? Well, this guy's like gonna be so much brown. Well, so be it. This is gonna be a lot of brown. Maybe I double shade the leather armor so you could distinctly tell the difference between the armor and the gold bits. I guess my question is, who do you put into... Well, I guess we would have to randomly come up with 3 guilds, and then you would get to decide who plays into what based on the coin toss. Or, like, assuming you want a coin toss, right? So let's say we ran into a team of, I'll say, morticians, fish, and hunters. You know, who's going into what team? Miner says the worst matchup. Yeah. So that's my hypothetical situation for you, right? Hunters, fish, and morticians. Who's playing into what? Practice in Andrew, but maybe a good matchup into Brewers. Why do you say that? Just because of all the low defense? You could spike around the... You could spike around their tough hide. You wouldn't want to go into Corsair fish. Okay. Maybe that's blue too, because there's... I feel like I'm losing too much of the model here if I don't. Well, I'll do that. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's do this, and then I'll just darken the, I'll darken the armor down further. All right, so who goes into fish? If, let's say, I don't know. Let's stay with my hypothetical situation. It's us three into fish morticians and hunters. Who's going into what? Um, I think, I wonder if maybe brewers go into hunters? Brewers go into hunters, and then the other two could go either way. You could put, I think I would prefer to go into to morticians, right? And that would mean you would be playing into fish. That's how I see it, but I'm curious to know, like, how do you see that? Oh, no, my audio is good. I still have audio. Hold on. Did we lose audio? Audio still seems fine on my end. It does seem a little low. Do I need to turn it up a little bit? I can turn up my audio. Um, hmm. Mm, oops. Let's try to fix our audio. Yeah, no, it seems okay. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll keep talking. And yeah, I can hear myself on playback, so that's a good sign. All right. Okay, let's do. Where's the skeleton horde? Where is skeleton horde? I'll reply to you. All right. Put that there. Ooh. It's a lot of browns all at the same time. Okay. It's not bad. All right. I guess we're working on Agamemnon right now. I'm going to give him like a deep red underneath all this. Must have been my browser, no worries. No miners, no Corsair. Probably drop Falconers in the first to let others decide the matchup. They might match up weaker players into the guild if they think the guild is bad. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard what I was thinking. If we were to go into morticians, if we were going to go into morticians, fish, and hunters, I was thinking you put brewers into hunters, you put you into fish, and you put me into morticians. That's my thinking. Although I think you could also really make short work of morticians if they're going to be playing scalpel. I'm gonna mute this. Okay. Yeah, I'm going off book here with Agamemnon because there's just too much brown. We gotta have some color on this model. Like I'll get some subtle differences out of highlighting the model, but yeah, in my case, the only teams I really don't want to play into are gonna be hunters and brewers, and I'm sorry, hunters and farmers, and I'm fine to play into anything else. I'm fine to play into brewers. I think farmers are a pretty bad matchup for me, and hunters, um, I don't. I guess if it's Scatha, I wouldn't be as worried. Theron gives me problems. Be okay into a Morts matchup. I don't know if fuck. No, I think we would drop. In that case, I think we would drop. We would drop Andrew into hunters. So I feel like Andrew's pretty comfortable playing into um, that sort of team. There now he's kind of looking more like a Santa Claus looking thing. It's a nice red. That Flesh Terror's red. It's pretty hot red. All right, let's get Wildwood out here. Oof, I don't know about farmer matchup. I have the matchup. You have to play that matchup a bit too. Oh, matchup. You mean Falconers into farmers? I don't know. All I know is farmers are just going to be bad for me. I mean, if I have to, I'll play it. And I'll play, you know, the internet tells me to play a 3-0 game. And I think you end up having to. You know for sure it's going to be Thresher. Yeah. I like in this Agamemnon, he just needs to be highlighted. All right. We're just going to block them all out with the colors, and then we're going to highlight them. I'm going to do some of this armor. And give the armor the banded armor here a little bit darker tones. Right, while the leather of the cloak and all that is going to remain the same. And then this here. The dark suddenly became a really dark miniature. Just because of all the different browns going on. Okay, cool. Now all I got left as far as base blocking out is going to be this dude. And I happen to have Wildwood open, so let's just take the Wildwood and let's do the bow in the Wildwood. And I'll do this handle here too, because why not? And I'll probably do these arrows here too, because why not? And this leather strap. Right, let's do that and this. Yeah. I don't know. I hope they announce soon whether or not this is going to be a thing, because I got to work out like almost a year in advance when I'm going out there and all that good stuff. Is the corner of the screen black on the right? Oh, it is. It's it's a comment section. So the comments will pop up there. Hey, what's up, itinerant hobbyist? Yes, sir. It is. You are not just imagining that. Okay, so we'll go like that. And Odysseus is going to have some dark hair as well. Okay. And then we're going to give him blue. He's going to have a blue cloak like the art. He's actually going to match those it's going to match those Amazons I painted. Hold on. I'll drink here. Yeah, it's for the chats, which I don't necessarily need because I have a separate screen for chat. But when we do like a dual or like a joint stream, then it's good for the other person to be able to see instead of them having to have two monitors open. Talisar blue, no. Ooh, I could do Archelian green and that would look awesome, but that's not what Nelson would want. It's too bright. Where's my There's my ultramarines blue. Yeah, I'm just using contrast paints on these to get them, to get like the base coat and the shade down, and then I'm gonna come back and highlight. Because that's super easy to do that. It's just makes life easy. Right? It's gonna let me do all this reasonably quickly. Oops. Messed up a little bit there. Okay. So we got that. And this. Okay, so now you can see how, like when you block out a miniature with contrast paints, a lot of people, myself included sometimes, I just look at it and go, okay, that's good enough for what I wanted, right? If I'm doing a squad or, for the effect, I want to do a squad, then then contrast paints are, you basically just block the miniature out with contrast paints. As long as you pick the right ones, you should be fine. Yeah, I disagree with him being this blue color, though. I think Odysseus would look cooler and... he's Greek. I guess he could have this blue color. I totally missed that spot down there. We'll fix that. Okay, and then the card art has the mohawk, like super GW style, old school Dire Avengers, where it's striped. So those would be cool. Yeah. For those of you who painted Eldar Dire Avengers, you might recognize this pattern in the mohawk. Cool. All right. And then we'll get that. And then we'll get to... Yeah, I think I'm going to paint Athena on probably on a separate stream. Well, let's just see how far we go. Because these are actually not that far from being done. So maybe we do just block her out. See where that takes us. Yeah. Let's block him out completely with Basilicanum Gray. Making life easier since 2019. Easier and harder is what I will say. I think contrast paints they do make life easier once you get them. Once you understand how to use them. It's a little bit of a learning curve. And you have to be pretty accurate when you're painting with these, and you have to have a good understanding of how thick you want to put the paint down in any given situation. I think that's what they don't tell you. They tell you, oh, this is good for new painters and just put one thick coat down, but that's not really true. It's not always that straightforward. Here's the big ol' Athena. Let's get some color on her. She is pretty great. But yeah, you just kind of, once you kind of accept them into your system and you're going to use them for specific things, it's a nice little thing to add to your arsenal. And yeah, I even think your pro/display level painters will still make use of contrast paints, just because it, like I said, it saves steps. It gets them to a specific point. And they're going to do so many layers and effects anyway that it will be very hard to determine that they even used contrast paints when they were painting their award-winning whatever. And so I do think it's just going to be kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of, for me, I think it's just kind of part and parcel of what painters are going to be able to access when they're painting. The main benefit, I do agree that the main benefit is like large army or batch painting. That's really where these shine. But I watched some painting, like some really, really good painting videos where they started with contrast paints and they they used them for the base coat and shade, and then they apply advanced techniques over that, and it looks good. I've not used them yet. I mainly World War II 15mm, just had bought a complete set of Vallejos. Oh yeah. That's the other thing I struggle with is I don't want to paint anything smaller than 25mm scale. I mean, I've done it before. It doesn't, that scale doesn't really do it for me, I guess. Okay. Okay. But these have been a blast to paint so far. The detail's pretty good. Unfortunately, I did run into some mold lines and stuff that I could not fix while I was working on these. But even still, they look okay. You know, all things considered. One piece plastic board game mini. Right? It's not bad. I'm going to use that Groove Charger Gray to base and undercoat her white robes. If I enjoyed painting on like a larger scale, this allows me to see the model and get the stuff done. Sure. Oh man, I feel I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about something that I really don't like talking about. But it came up again this week. It's that topic that the wargamers can never ever seem to let go of. It's a and don't get me wrong, it can be a good topic of discussion, but I just don't think that the wargaming community is looking at the topic correctly. Okay, uh, so I don't know. And in case you're wondering what I am talking about, what I'm referring to, I am, of course, referring to the age-old question with miniature gaming: why aren't there more women playing war games? Right? It came up again this week, and there was a video on it that I saw that was not bad. It was not a bad video. It was more from the perspective of pure war games, like pure large scale wargaming, the wargaming hobby. So historicals, we're talking historicals. We're talking even Warhammer 40K, Kings of War, um, all of that kind of stuff, right? And it's true, not a lot of women play those games or into that part of the hobby. And I think the video did an admirable job of, because they interviewed 3 different women that were in the wargaming side of it and their perspectives, and obviously all perspectives are valid. Um, but I don't know that I just don't think we're looking at the overall question correctly, because you hear discussions like that, which are decent, and then you'll have discussions from mostly the 40K crowd. Oh, why aren't there more women playing Warhammer? Right? And they want to know why there aren't more women playing Warhammer. And they immediately go to, well, female space marines. And then they start arguing back and forth about female space marines. Do we need female space marines? Oh my god, they're sisters of battle, guys. And so one side is like, they're sisters of battle. There's other side that's like, you guys are misogynistic for not wanting female space marines. And I'm like, you guys are both wrong, and no one gives a shit. And this is the reason the whole argument that's been raging for like the past 4 or 5 years on female space marines. Probably one of the main reasons why you don't see more women in the hobby. And the fact is, um, there's still plenty of women in the quote unquote hobby. When I say hobby, the miniature hobby, right? There's still women that like to paint miniatures, and they paint them. Again, we're looking at the question wrong. It's almost like if you're looking at video games, it would be like asking, well, why aren't more females playing? Why aren't females playing more combat games? Why aren't females playing uh, more fighting games? And of course, there are females. There's actually pretty sizable female, or actually notable female presence in like some of the fighting game communities like Tekken, right? But overall, it's still a very small portion of those communities. And you're going to say, oh yeah, the women aren't present in video games. But you actually look at the whole thing, women play a lot of mobile games, right? They play a lot of like word games and that kind of stuff. They play on the tabletop side. Women tend to play more RPGs. They tend to play more board games and that kind of thing. And instead of going immediately to, we need space marines with vaginas or we don't need space marines with vaginas, you're missing the point entirely. It's a preference thing that, when women are relating to, and I'm going to generalize, holy shit, Google, they're going to throw me off the internet. But it's been my experience that uh, that women love painting miniatures. They love that part of the hobby, but what they want to do with the miniatures isn't the same thing. In big broad strokes, it's not the same thing that what a lot of guys want to do with miniatures, right? How many guys again, let's just throw all these dudes in the pool. How many dudes play uh, tabletop war games, tabletop or miniature war game strategy, that kind of stuff, that will buy hordes and hordes and hordes of miniatures, but don't give a shit about painting them, right? Tons of them don't give a shit about painting them. It's because their goal with this plastic is different. Okay, this is to some people, and it's a lot of dudes. This is a strategic piece that I'm buying and putting on the board. The fact that it's a cool sculpt is gravy, right? This is the gaming side of the hobby. I'm looking at this is cool, putting on the board, and I'm gonna use this to eliminate these, right? This is gonna go and stab this, and my whole thing is I'm gonna purchase this for the express purpose of putting it on the board, rolling the dice, doing the thing, getting rid of it. It's not the same thing as a hobbyist who looks at this and says, "Oh, cool. I'm going to get to paint this thing." And what they want to do with it afterwards isn't always the same thing. It's going to be, oh, um, I may just want to display it. Some of us will want to put it on the board, right? Those are, uh, I fall into that category. I want to paint it, enjoy it, and then put it on the board. And a bunch of people also like to do that. Um, But there's plenty of other people that are like, I painted it, I had my fun with it. That's the value I derive from this, is the painting, not putting it on the board and looking up the rules and measuring the thing and rolling the dice and getting rid of it. That's not where they choose to enjoy the hobby. So if you're all freaked out that your would-be girlfriend or your poor wife or whatever isn't playing the same game that you like, give it a give it a effing break, dude. Just stop. Okay? To they like to do different things with these, and we need to just understand that. And but for those of them that do, cool. Now, I thought about this at some length too. If you really wanted more women playing, and I'm going to remove the game. I'm going to remove the term war game. I'm not going to call it war game. If you really want to have more women playing miniatures games, because I'm going to broaden it. I'm going to say it's not necessarily a war game. Let's call it a miniatures game. Let's not even call it a skirmish game. Let's just call it a miniatures game. And what I mean by that is you put the miniatures on the board. You assemble your pieces, you put them together. There are rules associated with those pieces. You put them on the board and you engage in some sort of spatial strategy. You engage, I'm sorry, in some sort of spatial tactical game where you're making real-time decisions on what the pieces are doing. You're moving those pieces around the board, not a grid. That's a miniatures game. And I think that and that's actually, in my opinion, it's a big opportunity for manufacturers that you can produce miniature games that female players would enjoy. Okay. But the first thing you got to do is get the word war game out of there, because, the next 100 people making miniatures games, 95 of them are going to make war games, right? You want to increase the 5 that aren't. You want to put, and you got to engage in thinking more around, okay, well, if the object isn't just to roll dice and to smash the other guy's army and hit them head on, what is the object? And you got to think about things like having a more character-driven experience. You got to think about things like, things that are more immersive, and you got to think about not just linear strategy or logical strategy. You got to think about um, what are some of the how do you actually employ some of the more verbal aspects, verbal and or social aspects of gaming. How do you incorporate that into a miniatures game? Make it more interactive, make it more immersive, make it more social. Um, those are where your thoughts need to be, not what junk is between a space marine's legs. Okay, you're missing the whole point of that. If your goal is really let's get more women into miniatures gaming, and you talk about 40K, you've lost already. Just give up, turn around, and go away. Just stop. If you if you're if you really are interested in that, then the games have to be designed around different aspects. They have to highlight different aspects of miniature gaming. Now, the beauty of miniature gaming is that you have all of these different aspects. Um, that you have that ability. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be this, um, weird thing. So, anyways, let's get to more painting here while I'm rambling. Like I said, I thought about this at length, because the question, the more it keeps getting asked, the more irritated I get, the more frustrated I get hearing it, because I think they're just missing the point entirely, right? It's almost like, you know, you're trying to start a car and everyone's arguing about the seat covers. That's kind of how that's kind of where I sit in this whole thing. As I'm just looking around at the people having these discussions and going, "Yeah, what you're saying doesn't matter. It really doesn't." And I missed a whole bunch of skin here. It really doesn't. And if people are going to continue, if my experience with jumping into different war games, like I said, um, I tried to play Warmahordes on several different occasions, and there have been times where I show up and I'm like, man, I'm going to show up at the store at the weekly Warmahordes night, and I'm going to just walk up and see if anyone's going to show me how to play, and let's give it an honest go, and let's see if I really like the game or not. The number of times that I've done that or tried to do that, and I walk up there and it's two idiots that are just arguing about rules over a whole sea of unpainted miniatures, and they never actually get around to playing a game. They just 2 hours of just arguing. I don't care how good your game is. I'm not going to play it at that point, right? And we're doing that on a large scale with this whole, oh, we need more girls in wargaming and female space marines, stupid argument, stuff like that. That's not to say that there aren't. I mean, the video I watched, the women in there gave some extremely valid points about. Man, I don't know if I like this green. Actually, the green's kind of nice. We'll use the green. We'll use this green as an undertone, and then I'll highlight off-white on top of it. Right. So I'm just kind of using this green as an like a shade underneath it. And it'll look good because it'll look nice and warm. Anyway, yeah, it's driving me crazy. Like, I just want to explain to people, like, you can make that game. And the other thing is, you have to make the game. I think the entire game, we got to look at the game experience holistically, right? We spend too much time in the nuts and bolts, in the minutia and the details, and we're not creating new. In my opinion, we're not really creating new gaming experiences. Not drastically different new gaming experiences. We're just sort of changing we're like stuck in a genre, you know. Again, if I were to bring this back to and compare it to video games, it would be like us only designing first person shooters and then wondering why, you know, demographic XYZ isn't playing the next first person shooter. And then, the next one developed, it's like, oh, here we go. I got it. I made the new revolutionary game, and here it comes. And it's another first person shooter. That's kind of where we're at. That's kind of what's going on. And it's just frustrating to be on the sidelines and watch, right? I don't think I think there's going to be plenty of people that should I pose this sort of argument to, they would not understand it, and they would still be talking about the junk between a Space Marine's legs. They would still, because they don't understand, like they can't get out of their bubble long enough to see that. They can't even gain the perspective to see that. To like back up and look at what you're asking people to do when they're playing the game. And that's really why you see the preferences that you see, not this stupid crap that you keep arguing about. I think you really create a different gaming experience. Anyway, I just lost my viewership, so like if people don't, they just they're done. They don't give a shit. Okay, let's go ahead and I want to give her blonde hair. I don't like this boring. All the colors are sort of boring, browns and that kind of stuff. Yeah, blonde hair. I mean, realistically, she should have darker hair. I could give her. No, just give her the boring darker hair. Whatever. Whatevs. But yeah, it's. I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. Where do I stand with the whole thing? I really don't care about gender or representation or anything like that so much as I care. You think we could be a space? it, for me, it's not about that. I just I would like to see um, I would like to see the miniature gaming hobby as a whole grow and grow in unique and interesting ways. And a consequence of that would be to have, I guess a more diverse crowd that's into the miniature gaming hobby. Um, like last Sunday, I hosted the Beholder Paint Day, and I don't think we had a single miniature game player. Of all the people that painted with me, which was like, I want to say like 12 people or something, because the beholders are limited. There's a limited number of them. But with the like a dozen people that that were there to paint the miniature, the only people that played miniature games. Well, there was a guy there that played Shadows of Brimstone. He's a board game player. He was the closest we had to somebody other than me and Yvonne, who is brand new to miniature gaming. So other than me and her, we didn't have anybody there that was quote unquote a miniature games player. They were all there to paint that beholder for D&D. And that's pretty awesome. In one regard, that's pretty awesome. And to be in contact with a group like that, RPG players, which is it's a more diverse crowd of people. And there were hobbyists, and they wanted to learn how to paint. And we had almost, I want to say 35-40% female representation in there. There's a lot of girls wanted to paint miniatures for their D&D groups, for their campaigns. It's a fun hobby for them. They genuinely enjoy doing it. What's wrong with that? Why do I need them to play a space marine? Right? Why what they don't want to if they don't want to engage in measuring and looking up rules and blowing each other up for 2 hours, they want to paint these miniatures for the purposes of, this is my character. I get to give them a name. I get to act out things with them and place them on the board for specific combat reasons and tactical reasons. But I'm not building a list. I'm not engaging in the typical wargaming behavior. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? If you want more if you want a more diverse group in miniature gaming, well, guess what? Your miniature games need to enhance those things that we already know are a popular draw or a popular reason for these other crowds to be engaging. I don't know, maybe I just base coat everything tonight, and then tomorrow I just go through and highlight it all. Maybe. Or maybe I just power through it and we get it all done tonight. We could do that too. And then tomorrow I could work on something totally different. Could also be doing that. She's such a cool miniature, man. She's really cool. Or I gotta get the little beak there. But yeah, that was my rant. Wasn't too bad, right? I just get tired of that discussion. But yeah, that was super fun. Painting the beholders was super fun. Just because, like I said, totally different crowd. The overwhelming majority of people that showed up had never painted a miniature before. And that's the kind of stuff I really like as a person who hosts paint days. Is if this is your first miniature, like that is like the best thing ever for me, is because you get to kind of discover this whole thing, and then like the feeling of accomplishment that they get when they finish a miniature is just it's crazy, because then they're like hooked. I remember I've had people that finished their first miniature and then they just go back into the store and they go nuts, and they come back with like 15 new miniatures, and I'm like, oh, don't do that, don't do that. But at the same time I'm like, wait, I do that. Welcome to the hobby, right? But yeah, good stuff, man. All right, so you're gonna let that dry and that dry. What color is her comb? Right? Is that what you call that? The comb? I know that's what you call it on a chicken. What do you call it on? What do you call it on a Greek goddess? Let's see. It is just white on her. Boring. Boring. No, sir, I don't like that. Why is that so boring? That is boring. Boo. I don't want to just hit it with Basilicanum Gray. Here, let's at least do Armor Wash on it so that it leaves more of the white. Where is my Armor Wash? Shoot. Down. Now this is unthinned Armor Wash, so you can see it is leaving a tone there that I don't particularly care for, but it's all right. It's all good. There you go. Just run it a little thinner. You're good to go. There you go. Right, and then you highlight that with a little bit of white later. What do I do with that snake bite? Okay. Cool, let's give this stuff a minute to dry. And we're gonna just start highlighting these bad boys and getting them all ready. It's pretty dope. Let me drink. Yeah, these might all be done tonight. Right, because there's not much to be done. Let's get some NMM gold base. And let's mix that with a little glaze medium. And we're going to highlight with that. It's not a line highlight, just a highlight. Right, just to bring warmth back. Some of this. But the thinner the better. So a little bit of glaze medium, some water. Right? And I'm just going to do real soft highlights. Just kind of letting the little beads of paint show up and dry as they need to. I'll highlight the armor plates. And you can see how thin I'm going with it. Like right now you can't see much. You can't see much of the detail. Pretty good flow on this paint. It's good good consistency here. It's letting me control, but it's not leaving like a big thick mess. And it goes down. It doesn't take much to do this. You just do enough of it to draw the eyes around to certain aspects of the model. And it just helps. Right? But I got like too much of the contrast stuff here. Just blend that in with it. Okay, right? So that's phase one. Let's make this even brighter. So we go with this color here. And this can be fun to do this kind of doing this kind of work. I enjoy it. This is where though now I have to be a little more precise about where this is going. So really light color here. And so this is just going to go really on the sharpest lines and the topmost parts of the model, right? So the very top of the shield and some of the tips here at the top. Right? And it's going to slowly draw your eyes to the top here. Sometimes you get more on there than you want, so just blend it out. There you go. Here you go. All right, just blend it out. There you go. Okay. Right. Into the helmet here. Her hair is kind of bugging me. Your hair is kind of bugging me. Right. I'm just going to do this on a few of the parts here. Like right there. It's at the tippity tops of stuff. The skibbity paps. Okay. then we just let it kind of fade down. Again, you do this right, and it's a pretty cool effect. Okay. All right, and then let's do this. Got super quiet. My audio's still on. So just a little edge highlight on our little short sword here. That's fun. It's a fun little sword there. Okay. Yeah, not bad. It's fun. I think I need, if I really want that to be steel, I could go a little bit darker on it. But it looks okay. Overall, it looks all right. I can even add a little bit of white to like 2 spots on here. Right? Spots where the light is really going to shine. Her little eagle helmet is awesome, I must say. It's a really cool looking helmet. Okay. So there's that. There's all kinds of highlighting that's going to happen on this dude. Well, maybe not all kinds, but we'll do it some justice. I want to get certain parts of the crown and the little cudgel he has, or scepter. Maybe it's a scepter. Right? Something just to show. Dude kind of rich. Right? And that little shiny parts, you think, maybe you think it's all brown, but it's not. Because there's some gold. There's gold in them there hills. Boop. Yeah. We're quiet because we don't like talking to misogynists. Yes. This segment brought to you by misogyny. They could fix that. The female space marines, they could fix, GW could fix that anytime they want. All they need is stickers. They could just they hand out a bunch of stickers, and then you could say, and you just take because Space Marines look all the same on the outside, you could just say, put a sticker on some of the packaging that says, some of the models in here identify as female or other, and just sell them that way, and that would shut people up, and no one would give a shit, and you would just everyone would still buy the same products and the same armies, and the people that want to, they want to virtue signal and say, how woke their chapter is. They could just say, hey, I bought the ones with the sticker that said that they're not male, right? And then everyone's happy. Could just do that. There's some people that, that want to strictly adhere to the fluff and all that stuff who are going to get a little bent out of shape. And I know what that's like, right? Because when I played 40K, the fluff was very different than it is now. Very different and way better. And, it wasn't one of the reasons why I quit the game, but it was one of those reasons that made me start to lose interest in the game. was, because my favorite Space Marine chapter used to be owls, and then they made it eagles because they wanted to be more grimdark. Well, screw you guys. I wanted my owl chapter, right? And their whole fluff was around them being owls. They rewrote that too, and I was like, oh, that sucks. So they rewrite Space Marine lore to be like, oh yeah, we just take humans and we stuff them in this stupid piece of shit armor with horrible shoulder pads and make them fist each other and spill gene seed all over the place. Well, that's how they're going to do it. You know? All the sergeants with no helmets are all male. Not true. Not true. If you've ever seen GW's female head sculpts, they're nearly identical. Even the bodies and the legs are identical too. All the female GW sculpts look like they just look like dudes to me. I can't even tell. They're so not feminine. How dare he? But it's true. They're like GW used to have like feminine looking demonettes, and they used to have um feminine looking dark Eldar. Now you can't really even tell. You're just like, oh yeah, this is just whatever. This is just the other screaming death thing. Death of horrible death fights. That's what they call everything, and you just don't care anymore. And you could just, I guess, I mean, if you really wanted the head swap that goes from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Martina Navratilova, I guess you could totally just do that if you really wanted to. My point is, it's dumb. 40K is dumb. The lore is dumb. Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. It's pretty dumb. Come on, it's pretty dumb, right? Whoa. Agamemnon does not agree. He was trying to jump off. He's tired of me talking about this. I don't even know what the hell he's pointing at. He certainly doesn't know. Why is he pointing that way and looking at me? What's the matter with this dude? Get some highlights on this fur. All right, you get this. But I think even if you did that and you totally kowtowed to, you know, the one group or the other, the most vocal groups, the one thing's clear, the most vocal groups on either side of that really stupid argument are not buying a whole lot of stuff anyway. See how it usually is. They want to complain, but when it comes down to it, even if you did everything that you wanted them to, they're not really a crowd that is going to really put their money where their mouths are. Okay, there, now he kind of looks like King Santa Claus. King Santa Claus. Okay, let's get Odysseus going. King Santa Claus. Yeah, now we're just highlighting our way up through all these miniatures. Sorry if I'm out of frame for some of this. Basically, I don't want to do too much highlighting, but just enough to make it, like I said, just trying to draw people's eyes around the miniature. Right. So again, most of this goes towards the top like that. Okay. Ooh. Trying to fade that out. Okay. Cool. You can see here I'm just doing a little edge highlight. Just enough. Whoa. Maybe a little too much right there. All right. Man, I can't. Detail isn't. I don't really like that. Let's. Ugh. All right. Let's do a second shade up there. It's just really unclear sculpting. It looks kind of beat up. Doesn't look great. There we go. Yeah. It just looks like an incoherent blob up there. Not very good. Not very good at all. All right. Okay, cool. All right. There is a lot of highlighting to happen here. Like a lot. But we're up to the task because this is just a cool miniature. It's just to just keep doing that. There you go. My NMM gold glaze may be too thin. Maybe. All right. I like all the little facial iconography. A lot of Medusa iconography on this miniature. Right. All All right. Whoa. I'm gonna tilt the camera up here so we can see her a little bit better. Okay. Wake up. I'm awake. I'm just painting. Being quiet, man. I am awake. How are you doing? Cool. Almost need like a true dry brush here to pick out this detail. But we'll just get it. We'll just get it manually. We'll go in there and get that. I don't want to OG it. I don't want to over gold it. But I definitely want more of the shield detail to pop. How you been, man? Okay, there we go. There we go. Or as the Australians like to say it, there we go. Oi. My terrible Australian accent. There we go. About to go to bed. What? Who needs to go to sleep yet? I gotta get up at 4:45 and I'm still painting this, man. Still in this. Oh, I like that. And there's so much gold here. Blend it up. Blend it up. Be a dude. Be a guy. Look at that. Look at that. You just have to believe. Over Midas it. No such thing. No such thing, sir. You can over gold because that's a term from I'm gonna get you sucker. Just part of cinematic history. But you can never over Midas something. All right. Let's do this. Yeah, I gotta. There's just a lot of highlighting that goes on this one. The other, like, giant goddess I painted is a lot more simple in her design. Let me show you what I mean. This is the other one, Persephone. She's just simple. She's like, hi, I'm just wearing this dress. What's up, everybody? That's all we need to know about her. Athena here, just got a little bit more to her design. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Got a nice little shine going there. Shing! A little shing on the armor. Shing! That's my little owl there. The actual owl looking kind of cool. Getting a little bit of that shing action. You free tomorrow night for a game? Probably not. I have to stop by the store around 5 to pick up something, or between 5 and 6 to pick up something, but I probably do not have enough time for a game, unfortunately. I may have some time Sunday. It's too bad you don't have like Friday half days, because those still happen for me sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Had I actually finished my Malifaux game like at 8 o'clock yesterday, then maybe I would have had time for a game tomorrow, but I don't think so. I am planning on streaming tomorrow night. Yvonne and I think, may be streaming painting tomorrow night. So even though I don't have time for a game, I will be back here at like 9-ish to stream painting. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm liking the shing that we got. You missed Friday. I know. Friday half days were great. I had the Friday every other day off, or every other Friday off during summer hours, but I actually didn't this year. So I just was taking half day Fridays. But it was like almost every Friday was a half day Friday. Because I had to go in for whatever reason, but I could leave half. Oh, that's too much shing. Careful with the shing. Not that much shing. 2 games of Guild Ball. Greater than 1 game. Yeah. You know, I still love my Malifaux, but that is the frustrating part about Malifaux, is that it's like the games take long and you're like, man, could have played 2 games of Guild Ball in that same amount of time. Had a pretty fun game though. The game I played last night, the Karis versus Shenlong. That was a pretty fun game. Close game too. Like squeaked out a 4-3 win out of that. After losing Karis and then trying to survive Shenlong in the late rounds where he was doing a lot of damage. Carlos still amazing. And then I made a couple dumb mistakes at the end as well. Like I had the miner up on the other side of the board, and I was like, oh, okay, because I had Power Ritual, because why not? If you're taking a Soulstone miner, why not? Power Ritual is stupidly easy to get if you're taking a Soulstone miner. But I forgot to interact with that corner there and score my points for it. So I ended up, really only scoring points off the strategy and then getting 1 for deliver a message because I was forced to kill Shenlong in turn 5 because I didn't have I couldn't drop a scheme marker to get the other point for deliver a message. Man, I love owls. They're so cool. Owls are one of my favorite creatures. Love them. We got a little bit of a great horned owl action here going. Pretty cool. Yeah, I feel like our weekly gaming has been rough. It's like it's been tough to get good weekly games in lately. Just because everyone's schedules have been crazy and then, there is the Malifaux effect. It's like, oh, we're going to play a game of Malifaux and then we'll see if we have time to do anything after, and we never do. But yeah. Get a little edge on this blade. I guess this is like wrapped here. So I'll hit this and then hit it with Skeleton Horde after to show that the blade has the spear has a little bit of a wrap on it. Okay. Been trying to get those games in. Yeah, we're all busy. Can't get Andrew out on a weekday. Cody can show up sometimes. I show up sometimes. Actually, I still show up, but I like pop in and out, and then I can't stay the whole night now. That kind of stuff is happening. Like last night, I was supposed to be back home at like 8, but the Malifaux game ran to 9. And my wife was messaging me like, hey, I thought you were going to be done at 8. Oh, good night, Jeff. Oh, shoot. Where is that color I need? Oh, no. I guess I could just do off-white. No, I wanted like a bone color. The deal is just hard to not play Guild Ball. Yeah, Guild Ball has really proven it as far as, replay value. It's like the best game that we have from a replay value standpoint is Guild Ball. Oh, it's already 11. Okay. Let's just wrap these up then. Dude, we could finish these tonight. We're like there. We just have to do like one thing to these. I don't even know if I want to go with, I kind of like this color as is. I don't think I want to do a whole lot. You know what? I won't. I'll just highlight a little bit with the bone color. Right? Yeah, let's just do that. Just highlight a little bit with the bone color. But overall leave this about the same, the color it needs to be. I know, we'll get back into the rhythm of things, I think, soon. we'll get back into a rhythm of meeting up and playing some games. Probably after Extra Life as we head into the holidays. You know, things are going to get a little more crowded at the shop, but that's okay. You know, we always have GameCraft as a fallback, so that's good. Yeah, I kind of like her with that style robe, like a just kind of a warmer yellow-green robe. Let's do a couple of things. Let's do Wildwood as this leather strap here, right, for the shield. Right. Well, it's crazy with holidays, but for those of us, you know, that when we are around, I think we'll be able to get in games. I know I will, because my wife will have all that time off. So I should be able to get games in. Last thing I need to do before we paint all the bases in is I want to highlight this, highlight the comb here. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's paint the bases black. That's the last step here. Yeah, and then tomorrow I'll actually, I think I will hang out long enough here to seal these. Let's seal them up too, so that we're like done. Like I could deliver these to Nelson tomorrow if he's around. Since I've sealed up the other ones. Just gotta hang out for a little bit longer, let them dry. And then zap them. I offered to put like sand on these bases, but I don't think he didn't really respond to that, so I don't think he wants that. So we're just gonna paint them black. It's a nice clean look anyway. Just painting them black. Really makes the piece stand out. I could probably get used to doing this kind of style. Like if I was painting my own board game stuff, maybe I just paint them black and just enjoy them as, you know, cool looking pieces like this. Trying to get the last little bit of. There we go. I think if we're streaming tomorrow, I'm just gonna paint. I'll just queue up one miniature I want to paint. Maybe two. Probably just one though. I'll queue up a Guild Ball mini. Oh. And then this last one. It's great. It's great. Is that drying solid? Could be a problem. Doesn't look like it's applying solid. It's just wanting to run everywhere. Maybe I overthin the black. Maybe. Yeah, looks like I did a little bit. Let's let it dry. We'll let these dry for a minute. Whew. Yeah, I know. Tomorrow night, maybe I pop Cammy off of her old base, put her on the new style translucent green bases, and get to town converting her over to my all resin team. Maybe that's what we do tomorrow. All right, where's the lid to this? Pretty cool minis, right? Not bad. You know, I think they look pretty cool. Let's get all that out of the way. How am I doing on varnish? Doing all right? Yeah, not bad. These things certainly paint fast enough. Whew. Just giving that black time to dry. Actually, can help it along. A little bit of air, right? Just a little bit of air across the base here. Help dry this off. Always down to see you paint Guild Ball. Well, I would just be repainting Kami essentially. Although, I do have a resin Midas. That's the other pose. I'll show you real quick. Right, because he didn't get sold. This guy was on my season 3 team, and I kept him instead of selling him back when I sold my season 3 team. So, and he's resin, so I could pop him. I'd have to pop him off of this base. He's pinned in. That's the scary part. Pop him off of that. Put him on a translucent base, and then repaint him essentially, which is a super easy model. So, but that would be cool because then that would give me this pose Midas to run around with the resin team. Come on. I just need this stuff to dry. This time of night, especially a big surface like that, big flat surface, it's hard to get the paint to dry. I don't know. I may have to just get up early and paint and seal them. It's kind of a bummer, but you like the Midas sculpt? Yeah, he's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I got that. I picked that up during season 3 when I was running the 4V lineup, which I should run again. I should play that again. Except you don't have Crucible, but it's okay. Could play that exact lineup again in season 4, and it's still pretty good. I think Crucible makes them better, but you still have Vitriol and VCalc in there as strikers, and you got your bruisers are VCat and Venom, which is actually pretty nasty combination of Bash Brothers. Ooh. Uh-oh. Is that just gonna skin funny? It probably is. Yeah. Yeah. That's just gonna form a lip right there. That sucks. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Alright. They're dry enough for me to seal, so I'll seal them up. Cool. Yeah, maybe I'll paint that Midas sculpt tomorrow. If I could do the Midas and Kami, then we're good to go. Yeah, I got a little lip on it, but it's okay. It's alright. Ooh, what's going on with my airbrush is spitting. King Santa Claus is kind of cool. Alright. Shoot the rest of that out. Alright. And there we go. One more rinse here. Do you think we'll get any new releases this year for Guild Ball? Oh, and the remainder of the year? Probably, I would say if anything, we'll probably get one more resin team. I don't think we're getting what are they called? The Shepherds. I don't think we're getting that guild. But yeah, I think we're just going to get another resin team. That's probably it.